This chilling story was shared with us by Ben, a 38-year-old man who co-founded a pest control company. Over the years, his job has led him to countless eerie places, deserted buildings, abandoned facilities, and cavernous spaces that come alive only at night. But one particular encounter stands out as the most terrifying in his memory: a midnight job at a massage parlor in Phetchaburi Road, Bangkok, Thailand. The building was a 3-story structure. The first floor remained in operation, while the second and third floors were under renovation. Ben's company had a year-long contract to treat the facility for pests, and their shifts were scheduled after midnight, once all clients and staff had vacated the premises. That night, when Ben and his colleague arrived around 1 a.m., the scene was disturbingly quiet. Only a single security guard and his dog remained on the property. The building stretched far back into the lot. The guard opened the entrance for them, but made no move to accompany them inside. Instead, he handed Ben a crude floor plan sketched on a sheet of paper and explained that the light switch for the second floor was in the center hallway. The third floor had no functioning switch. It could only be lit from the second floor. His aloof behavior and refusal to offer any further guidance left an uneasy impression. With no better option, the two men entered the building as instructed. The first floor was off-limits for lighting, so they used flashlights and kept music playing on their phones to soothe their nerves in the suffocating dark. After finishing the ground level, they climbed to the second floor. Using the map, they located the main switch and managed to illuminate the floor dimly. Seeing a faint glow extending upward to the next level, they decided to start on the third floor first. As they ascended the creaking stairs to the uppermost level, an unsettling sound met their ears: the soft but unmistakable drip of running water. It wasn't forceful, like a broken pipe, but more rhythmic, like a faucet left barely open, drops falling into a sink or onto tile. In the utter silence of the abandoned building, the sound echoed unnaturally. According to the map, the third-floor restroom should be on the left. They followed the corridor and found themselves at the bathroom door, the sound growing louder. Naturally, they questioned why water would still be running at this hour. Had the renovation workers forgotten to shut it off? They tried the door. It was locked from the inside. This was strange. There should have been no one in the building. The door had no windows, no vents, no peepholes. They couldn't see if the lights were on or if someone might actually be inside. Concerned, they knocked and called out, but there was no reply. Only the unceasing sound of trickling water. After 10 long minutes of knocking and discussing what to do, they decided to go find the guard. But just as they turned away, click, the door's lock turned, and then, slowly, almost teasingly, the bathroom door began to open on its own. Frozen with dread, they watched it creak inward. Neither man moved. Ben tried to dismiss it. Maybe it was a mechanical glitch. Maybe the lock failed. Maybe the building was just old. They approached, flashlights in hand, and aimed the beams into the darkened room. It was pitch black. No lights, no movement. More disturbingly, the water sound had stopped. They scanned the room. It was completely gutted. No toilet, no sink, no faucet. Just dust, debris, and cement rubble. The spot where a faucet should have been was bone dry. They looked at each other, both realizing there was no way that sound had been real or explainable. Still shaken, they decided to abandon the third floor and head back down, but as they turned the corner to descend the stairs, slam, the bathroom door crashed shut behind them, and the water sound returned.
Only now it wasn't isolated. It seemed to come from every direction. Drips and streams echoing through the entire floor, as if the building itself was leaking. Then came another sound, a woman's moan. Not a seductive sound, but a guttural, pained groan, like someone suffering unspeakably. The sound drifted toward them from the very staircase they were trying to reach. They turned around, trembling, flashlights trembling in their hands. And they saw her. Under a faint flickering light, maybe 10 meters away, stood the figure of a woman. Pale, motionless, dressed in what looked like a maternity gown. From between her legs, a dark liquid streamed steadily down, dripping onto the floor with an audible plop. At first they thought, could this be a real woman? A worker in distress? But no one should be here. No one could be here. Not in the pitch-black third floor of a half-demolished building. And then she lunged. Both men dropped their equipment and ran screaming, bolting down the stairs, shouting "Ghost! Ghost!" at the top of their lungs. As they reached the exit, they found the security guard and his dog already outside. They had run first. The men piled into their car, leaving all their gear behind, and drove straight to their office. It was 3 a.m. Neither of them slept that night. The next morning, their client called asking about the abandoned equipment. Unable to explain the truth, they simply said they wouldn't be able to continue and offered a full refund. The client was baffled. The contract was supposed to last a year. Later that day, Ben returned to collect the gear during daylight. The atmosphere was drastically different. Workers were on site, drilling and repairing. Ben asked the foreman if anyone stayed overnight. The man said they had tried, but stopped after a few nights. It didn't feel right, he said. Not a place to sleep. When asked if anything unusual had happened, the foreman casually replied, "Sometimes we hear crying, but I figured it was noise from the club next door." One detail stood out. When asked what time the workers usually wrapped up, the foreman answered, "Around 3 p.m. "It's just better that way," he added, and walked off. Before leaving, Ben returned to the spot where the woman had stood. It was just a pile of broken concrete now. To the right, he noticed a door he hadn't noticed before. Behind it was a gynecological exam room, complete with outdated equipment, examination chairs, and stirrups. Everything was dusty, broken, abandoned. And on the inside of the door, a faint blood smear, shaped like a hand. Everything made sense now. The water, the blood, the woman. He never found out who she was, but he never went back. Ben says this is just one of over 100 ghostly encounters he's had, working night jobs in pest control. But this one, he says, is burned into his mind forever.